Disclaimer, warning, the content will examine phenomena that some would find offensive, inappropriate, insensitive and triggering. This content neither suggests, nor implies, medical, or any other professional advice. This is a light-hearted discussion of a comedian and his therapist friend engaged in hypothetical conversation on Black mental health and race. Views and content associated, or affiliated, with this, or any other, platform that this podcast may be accessed. All information and opinion are independent expression of free speech that a reasonable person may
All right. All right. That's enough of that. Cut it out. Jesus fucking. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Your mic is on mute.
What about it?
You say, what about it? What about it?
The tree?
Yeah.
What tree in front of the house?
No.
Your mic is on now, brother.
Oh, I'm sorry, brother.
That's all right. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace to God.
Peace to the universe, brother. What is going on?
I don't know what's going on. It's not me talking to me. Ask me something about a tree.
Tell him to be very careful in trees. Because these white folks are hanging people from, I don't know what's going on, brother, but we may have to discuss that tonight. The title of tonight's episode, you are listening to Black Mental Health and Race. I've played our disclaimers so that there is no surprises tonight, that we get down with some very serious talk. And if you're not mentally strong enough, we advise, or if you're underage, if you're under the age of 18, we advise you to tune out. If you are up to this conversation, stay tuned. You're listening to Black Mental Health and Race. I am your host, MF motherfucking Doug, and my co-host is Dr. Moore. And although he is a real doctor, tonight's and all of our discussions are about two Black men living in America, and just the basic conversation, a little bit above the barbershop talk that most people engage in. We try to engage each other in critical thinking. Tonight's episode is entitled Reasonable Doubt. Based upon that, Dr. Moore, welcome to the podcast.
Peace to God.
Peace to the universe. Did you get a chance? I know you've been out on the road. Did you get a chance to see any of the concerts with Jay-Z live? Or were you not interested, brother?
Oh, well, no, I didn't go to the Jay-Z concert, but I did go to the Usher and Chris Brown concert.
Yes, sir.
But no, Jay-Z was it. I mean, from what I understood, he was only in New York.
No, he actually did a tour. He didn't put out a new album. He put out because he started in Philadelphia with the Roots. But they did come to New York and New Jersey, I believe, or some other states. He went around. He got around.
He didn't come to D.C.
Right. Wait a minute. I think he did. I got to look that up.
No.
Matter of fact, hold on 1 second. I know I was doing something wrong.
No, I don't think he came to DC because I've been to quite a few concerts in the last couple of months actually.
Uh-huh.
I went to the Bruno Mars concert. I went to the Usher Chris Brown concert. I'm going to the Diana Ross concert on Wednesday.
Uh-huh.
So.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm gonna try to find that the schedule for his concert. If anyone is interested in seeing Jay-Z, I have kind of allegiance to him, Dr. Moore, because of The hello?
Yep.
Yeah, I have an allegiance to Jay-Z just simply because he's a New Yorker. Yeah, I know that isn't much of an excuse, uh, but he's not only a New Yorker, because New York is a state, it's a big state, uh, but he is from Bedford Stuyvesant, the livest one, the home of Biggie Smalls, and that is where my allegiance comes from. Um, so I'm trying to look up.
Well, I lived in Bedford Stuyvesant.
You damn sure did. So I thought you
Uh,
might have some allegiance, alliance.
in
But
the
you're into concerts. I'm not into.
well, I I'm not well. I'm into concerts by default.
Right, because you got to travel with your wife.
No, I don't have to, but
Right.
I
It says here that Jay-Z will be in London September 4th and 5th of 2026. He will be in Saint Denis, France, September 10th, 2026, and October 23rd and 24th in Inglewood, California. And this is Reasonable Doubt is one of his old albums. Um, so he's not making new music, and that was one of the surprising things that I learned. I thought this was to promote a new album. Apparently, it's not. But he so Reasonable Doubt is still in full effect in that respect, Dr. Moore. Trying to see. Um, so that's how we're going to start off tonight's podcast. Uh, Hopefully, we'll get to first up on our critical thinking list, Dr. Moore, is COVID. Now, apparently, while we were all, well, not you, Dr. Moore, you have an actual job, but while the rest of us internet sleuths were all investigating the Jeffrey Epstein files, rummaging through the Jeffrey Epstein files, they tried to slip Dr. Fauci in here before the Senate hearing committee. Did you hear about that? And do you know the nature of those Senate hearings? And who is Rand Paul? You may know that much if you don't know what the actual hearing is about for Dr. Fauci.
um uh I'll be honest with you, bro. I
No need to apologize, brother. I understand. But we're
yeah.
going to get into the psychological aspects of all of this anyway. Apparently, I thought they had caught Dr. Fauci in a lie. Apparently, they did, according to Rand Paul. He's uh, forgot what they call him. Well, he's in charge of those congressional hearings. Uh, those he's the chairman of the Senate hearing committee.
Yeah. So I've seen some of that stuff, but the problem I have with that is and it's interesting that you spend a significant amount of time following that stuff up.
Yes,
Um,
sir. Because people need to go to jail, and that's my job, brother.
yeah, well, good luck with that. I
How's
hope you
that
make
working out for you?
yeah, yeah, exactly. You are under um an administration
Jin. Go ahead,
um,
Dr. Moss. I'm sorry.
that wants to create a slush fund for January 6ers, right? And not only does this administration want to create a slush fund for people who attacked um, the Capitol, attacked police officers, um, but this administration feels like those people were treated unjustly and that their lives were taken out of tact and that they should be compensated. They also feel like everything that was done um, not in their favor or anyone who said something against them, um, they want to vilify, malign, um, and hurt their character as much as possible. So, um, Dr. Fauci has now come under attack under this administration because Trump wants to make it look like um, it's Dr. Fauci's fault that everything that went bad with COVID was not his fault, but in fact, Dr. Fauci's fault. And so I feel like it is a waste of time, but not only is it a waste of time, but um, it is a distraction and it is a mind fuck um, to follow this in the name of this guy, Dr. Fauci, taking the blame for everything that went wrong in the meddlings of Trump's administration and how they handled COVID-19. So they want a fall guy. They want someone that they can say it wasn't Trump and it wasn't a Trump administration. It was this guy and Biden and Obama is anybody's fault but the Trump administration. So I mean I wouldn't give following this witch hunt waste of time um, much or any of my time.
Yes, sir. That is good advice. Officially, according to Google, which is all subject to misrepresentation and misinformation, but you will get a general clue of what's going on because I wasn't aware, Dr. Moore. Why would they have a Senate hearing? I thought that COVID was being discovered as a hoax and they put Dr. Fauci in front of this Senate hearing, although they gave him immunity to answer for all of the
They
things that he's responsible for.
but they,
Go
they
ahead.
they didn't give him immunity. Biden gave him immunity.
That is correct, sir. And I'm going to tell you what it's for. So I asked Google, was COVID a hoax? And they clarified. No, COVID-19 was not a hoax. And there is no evidence that Dr. Fauci killed tens of thousands of people. The claims you are referring to are part of a broader body of public health misinformation. Global scientific consensus overwhelmingly confirms that COVID 19 was a real, highly contagious disease caused by the SARS CoV 2 virus. Extensive real world data demonstrates that the vaccines developed to fight this COVID virus, fought it significantly and reduced several illnesses and saved millions of lives globally. So that portion is not what those hearings were about, but it was made to seem that way, Dr. Moore. Um, nothing about COVID-19 was a hoax. It was a global pandemic, and to disregard it as being misinformation was indeed the misinformation that has resurrected itself during this hearing.
Yeah, well, it is a part of Trump's administration and Trump to discredit this guy. And
Although they put him in office, right?
no, when you do the research on Dr. Fauci has worked under numerous administrations. Trump didn't put him under his administration. This guy has worked under numerous of presidents.
Yeah, I'm going to read that too. So let me read on. Um, we established that COVID-19 was not the hoax, and that's not what these Senate hearing committee questions were for. The status of Dr. Anthony Fauci. Dr. Anthony Fauci served as the director of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, for 38 years and was chief medical advisor to both President Donald Trump and Joe Biden. He retired from public service at the end of 2022 because he was the public face of the U.S. pandemic response. He became became a highly polarizing figure. He has faced intense political scrutiny, congressional investigations, and criticisms over changing federal guidance, such as early advice on masking and social distancing rules. However, mistakes or adjustments made as a scientific understanding evolved during a novel crisis do not equate to criminal behavior or intentional harm. So that part of the hearings that we see now currently to the audience, not to Dr. Moore, are not because he did something wrong or said something wrong. In fact, I thought that the masks were mandatory. They're saying that Dr. Fauci never could make the mask mandatory because only Congress could do that. You'd have to pass a law in order to do that. What he did was suggest that Congress and that the president could, in fact, make the mask mandatory, but he didn't have any power to do that. So to blame him for that after he retired in 2022 is also a mistake. So I'm going to read this last little part and we'll have a quick conversation about it, Dr. Moore. Did he enact mandatory vaccination protocols? No, Dr. Fauci did not have the legal authority to mandate vaccines. Lack of jurisdiction. As a scientific advisor and institute director at the National Institute of Health, he could not pass laws or issue executive orders. That's the first lie that needs to be clarified. Number two, he issued mandates, and that too was a lie. Vaccine mandates were enacted by the federal government, not Dr. Fauci, as they may try to make it seem, um, which goes to your point, Dr. Moore, about the Republican Party trying to somehow get this guy in prison. Vaccine mandates were enacted by the federal government for military and federal employees only, not to the general public. And that was another clarification. For military and federal employees, they were mandated. And that was by the federal government, not Dr. Fauci. Certain state and local governments and private business and universities followed or adapted what was mandatory for federal government employees and the military. That was done voluntary by each state. They can't blame Dr. Fauci for that. Dr. Fauci publicly supported these measures as a public health tool to curb transmission, but he did not implement them. Um, and the final thing, because there are a lot of people that are still spreading misinformation, did the vaccine protocol kill tens of thousands of people, which they also blamed on Dr. Fauci? There's no evidence supporting the claim that the COVID 19 vaccine protocols caused widespread mass casualties. In fact, they saved lives. Independent peer reviewed studies published by the Institute like the Lancet estimate that COVID 19 vaccines prevented nearly 20 million deaths globally in their first year of rollout alone. Safety monitoring. While vaccines can cause rare, serious side effects such as myocarditis, which is heart attacks, or severe allergic reactions, health agencies worldwide confirm that the benefits of protection far outweigh those side effects. And so the vaccine was, and still is, in spite of what they're trying to put Dr. Fauci to. Now, I'm not supporting Dr. Fauci in any way, but I just don't like misinformation on anybody, friend or foe. I like us to be informed. Is that correct, Dr. Moore? If I may make a bold statement of my motivation for finding out what the hell was these Senate hearings for? I thought they had convinced us that it was a hoax and that that's why he was pleading the fifth during these hearings. I'm wondering, why is he saying he pleads the fifth on every question they're asking him?
He says he says that he's pleading the fifth because they would not allow his attorney to
Hmm.
be present.
Hmm.
And so and they kicked his attorney out of the courtroom. So the advice of his attorney was to plead the fifth um, uh, um, to any question that they asked him because he didn't have an attorney available.
Wow. Okay, the last thing I'll read in that, because I
But
don't want to bore the audience, but go ahead, Dr. Moore.
no, but you know it's a circus, bro. I mean, it's just you know it's a ploy, again to
Hmm.
shift the blame and
Hmm.
make this guy look like X, Y, and Z,
Right.
so they can prop Trump up to be like, see what happened, wasn't a result of Trump's mishandling. It was, this guy, Dr. Fauci,
Hmm.
uh,
Excuse me.
not knowing what not knowing what he was doing and mishandling the COVID situation. So they want to pin the blame on somebody outside of Trump.
Hmm. And that is where your inference on Rand Paul comes into play. Why were public hearings called? The hearings were covered by committee chairman Senator Rand Paul, who has engaged in years-long, highly publicized feud with Dr. Fauci. So this is personal to Senator Rand Paul. The objectives of the Republican lawmakers called the hearing to investigate the origins of the COVID 19 virus, pandemic era policies, and hundreds of pages of Fauci's personal diaries that were recently released. The goal, Senator Paul has repeatedly and publicly stated his desire to see Dr. Fauci prosecuted and incarcerated over his pandemic era guidance. Why did Dr. Fauci plead the fifth? The Fifth Amendment, as you stated, Dr. Moore, is a constitutional right meant to protect individuals from being forced to give evidence. The perjury trap. This is what Rand Paul was trying to do. Before leaving office, President Joe Biden issued Dr. Fauci a preemptive pardon shielding him from federal prosecution for any past pandemic actions. However, presidential pardon does not protect persons from perjury, lying under oath during a new hearing. The, le- the legal strategy, Dr. Fauci's lawyers argued, as you said, Dr. Moore, that the committee was not conducting legitimate oversight, but was instead attempting to trick Fauci into making minor inconsistencies under oath to build a brand new criminal perjury case against him. So that's what Senator Paul was trying to do. Fauci's defense in his opening statement, Fauci stated that Senator Paul had an unhinged obsession with him. Excellent. Because Dr. Fauci refused to answer questions, the Senate committee voted along party lines 8-5 to hold him in contempt of Congress. The contempt vote does not mean Dr. Fauci has been convicted or charged with a crime. It acts as a formal referral to the Department of Justice. So, because he wouldn't answer any questions, Dr. Moore, they held him in contempt of the Senate hearings, that he didn't have any right to plead the fifth since he had gotten a pardon. They only wanted questions answered, or at least that's what the Republican people running the hearing were trying to force him to do.
Yeah, that's fine. But they didn't have a problem with Trump when Trump,
Hmm.
when Trump
Right. Exactly.
numbers and numbers and numbers of times. Man, it is such, bro. I don't know how you spend your time following this.
But I was going to ask you the same thing about voting, and I hate to bring that up. This is all bullshit, brother.
You feel like voting is
And
bull?
yeah, because we're voting for these people, not you, Dr. Moore. I'm saying people that vote for the Republican Party and even the Democratic Party are voting for these type of strategists who have nobody's interest in heart but their own.
Yeah, but
Like, what did this Senate hearing
yeah, but
help
but
with the
people voted. There are people that voted for this, and
right,
there are people
exactly,
and
which
there
is
are
what
people
I'm
that
saying.
and there are people that support this.
Right.
So their vote isn't in vain. My vote was not for this. I didn't vote for any of them. So my vote was the opposite. So I'm able to have a voice because I voted. If I'm a person that says I don't vote, then everything that's happening, I shouldn't have anything to do with it because I don't have a voice because I didn't vote. But if I had voted for the Republican Party, and I disagree with that, I have a legitimate stance to stand up and say, I voted for you and you're not representing what I voted for. And I can hold you accountable. But if I did not vote for you, or if I didn't vote, period, I don't have a say. But the people that I voted for think and talk like I'm talking. And they're saying the same thing that I'm saying. That this is a witch hunt. That this is a conspiracy on the Republican Party and the current administration to attack and bring this guy down and blame him for the Trump administration during the COVID. So I am in a position to have a legitimate conversation, have a legitimate voice because I voted for people who are in direct opposition to what's happening.
I could push back, but I think we're out of time on that. We want to move on to two other topics, Dr. Moore. And so I'll give you the last word.
Well, that was my last word.
Yes, sir. So just a clarification to the audience, there was no hoax when it comes to COVID-19. Now, you had the right as a U.S. citizen to um, elect to take those vaccines or not, and you would be fine either way. There's a principle to voting. You had the right to vote to take the vaccine for yourself or not take it for you and your family. I think that is the exercise of democracy in truth and in part, Dr. Moore. When we come back, we're gonna save this as a clip, Dr. Moore, and we'll come back with reasonable doubt on Sydney Starr. And what was the other subject I brought up, Dr. Moore? It was reasonable doubt on somebody else. I'll bring him back when we come back. You're listening to Black Mental Health and Race, and we'll be back after these messages. That was awesome, Dr. Moore. Let me find the other subject right quick. You want to take a quick break?
I mean, I'm good.
Me
Yeah,
too.
I mean, I can take a break if you need one.
Nah, I just gotta go right back and find the other two subjects. I know one was Sydney Star. What was the other one? We did COVID.
I didn't know if you want to go back to President Robert B. Hayes.
Right. What were we talking about? It was leading up to something with the rest of
Well, you was asking me something about Lindsey Graham and why they was keeping Lindsey Graham death a secret.
Right.
Then we went into it wasn't Lindsey Graham, it was actually the senator out of
Storm.
no. Strom Thurmond was not he was a senator from South Carolina. Lindsey Graham, man, why is his name escaping right now? I'll tell you.
I just had this shit. Oh, my boy died. You remember Michael Thomas, the landlord?
Yeah.
He passed away 2025. Ain't nobody even told me.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. He's like a brother to me.
Is that the one that we used to watch?
Right.
And watch movies in the basement.
Yes, sir. All of my weird friends, brother. But at least I had a roof over my head, even though the snow came in on me in that place like it did on with you on wait a minute.
Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, we was talking about Mitch McConnell. Now hold on. I gotta stop the recording. That's why I stopped speaking. All right, well, remind me to restart the recording. We were talking about Mitch McConnell, but something just before that.
Yeah, but you were saying that why was they keeping Mitch McConnell's death a secret?
Right. And you said it wasn't. It was somebody else.
No, no. You were saying Lindsey Graham, and I was saying no. You must be talking about Mitch McConnell,
Hmm.
and you was that I don't know. Nobody has seen him or whatever.
Right.
But there's so many memes going around with people taking pictures of him in the hospital. You don't know if it's AI or not.
Lord have mercy. The- I can't find the one, but do you want to talk about schizophrenia induced by weed? And is that even possible from a psychological standpoint?
And we, um,
I know you're not on the medicine side of psychiatry, but are you comfortable with talking about that?
I mean, you could get schizophrenia from smoking, sure.
All right, we'll bring that up then. Let's do Sydney Star and the We, because I can't think of the other one. Shit.
Uh,
All right.
One
I'll
minute.
wait till you come out the bathroom. I hear echo.
Say it again.
I hear echo. I wait till you come out the bathroom.
Hello?
Yeah, you there?
Yep.
All right. Maybe one more second. Trying to find the live. Make sure it's recording. Yep, still recording. Here we go. All righty then. Oh. Welcome back, Dr. Moore. You are listening, the audience, you're listening to Black Mental Health and Race. I am your host, MF Doug, AF, and my co-host is Dr. Moore. Dr. Moore is a clinical psychologist. Did I get your title right, Dr. Moore?
No. I'm a licensed therapist.
Okay. I'll let you explain it right quick.
You mean?
As we go into this next subject. Tonight's episode is about reasonable doubt. We spoke about Dr. Fauci, COVID-19, and what you believe. The next topic in reasonable doubt is going to be on Sydney Starr. She has been accused of sex with a minor. The boy is under the age of 16, and so it automatically becomes an aggravated sexual assault charge, which has a minimum sentence if she is convicted, um, of 25 years to life. Uh, to familiarize Dr. Moore with who Sydney Starr is, she's a reality star, transgender woman. Um, she's 37 years old, and she now works for the Zeus Network on a reality show with Natalie Nunn and those type of people of those ilk reality shows. She was also famous for Love and Hip Hop. I think it was New York or Atlanta, but she became a local celebrity herself. Um, Also famous for accusing Chingy of being in a relationship with her, to which she later um, confessed that she lied. Um, but Dr. Moore, a lot of people are talking about Chingy as being what she's famous for rather than the conflict that she has as a 37-year-old woman, man, whatever you want to call her. I choose to respect that she is a her, but you don't have to. I don't want anybody to break their beliefs, and that's why this episode is called Reasonable Doubt. But the issue here, because me and Dr. Moore, I asked him for permission to bring up the subject because this one is very controversial, but that's what we do. Dr. Moore and I tackle tough conversations, not on the bullshit, hot topics, garbage that's out there, but the underneath psychological implications, the underlying legal problems with these type of scenarios. We don't want to talk directly to or about Sydney Starr, but what she was arrested for, because that is going to help you out in the audience in your life when you get into these situations, especially you young guys, you guys that are between 18 and 25 to 30. You are going to be in a situation not just with transgender females, with any female, and you could be locked up for a very long time just because you didn't follow a certain strict discipline. And that's exactly what I want to talk about tonight, Dr. Moore. So I don't get you involved in any hot, messy topics. Um, are you willing to come along?
Bro, that sounds like a trick question.
I don't want you to have to say like Clinton.
I don't.
I did not have sex with that girl. I don't want it to get you caught up in any mess, brother. But
You're not gonna get me caught up in any mess.
in nothing, brother. Assalamu
I'm not gonna get in any mess. That is.
Yes, sir. That's the Dr. Moore I want to hear from.
Because I don't know if you watched the movie Sinners. Did you watch that movie Sinners?
Nah, I don't watch bullshit like that. Now you see, you and I have different standards of what's bullshit. But I hear everybody talking about this movie. What is this shit about?
Now let me now. Okay, I'm gonna do one of your moves. Assalamu alaikum, bro.
Well, leave us alone.
Now you have the nerve to want to have a conversation about a transgender person named
And don't know the movie Sinners.
Sydney Starr. And the fact that you have spent time on a case about a transgender person
But don't know who Sinners is.
having sex with a teenage person. I mean, I don't know why that would be something that you would spend time on.
Well, I'm glad you asked, Dr. Moore, and I have to interrupt you. Remember Brother Polite?
See, again, the fact that you would follow foolishness, like,
Go ahead.
you know, but you would follow foolishness, like, bro, for like Sydney Star, but you would call watching a movie about Michael B. Jordan, talking about Black history, talking about
Now wait a goddamn minute.
talking about
Wait now. Salam alaikum, bro.
talking about Black culture, you know, in the South. And
I'm not gonna let you get away with that. There's
I,
no way in the world you gonna tell me that Sinners is about Black history.
bruh, wait a minute, Now you see, this is what I'm talking about. Now you ain't watched the movie, but you ready to have a you ready to tell
I'm
me what
ready to
it is,
argue that one down.
huh?
I'm ready to argue that one down to the ground. Go ahead.
How,
Let me hear this.
how can you have an argument about something you haven't seen? It's like me.
Because I know what Black people watch.
What are you talking about? What Black people watch Sydney Star? How
The
you
same people that watch Sinners.
see? You know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to do with that, because what you're saying don't make sense to me.
Go ahead, brother. Tell us about the movie.
Well, anyway, the movie Center with Michael B. Jordan, it does a cultural it does a cultural reflection about the South and um uh um how people in the South, um how they relate to things, how they see things, how they deal with things, right? So this movie is generated like in the deep South. Now, you and I both have people in we have roots in South Carolina. And so some parts of South Carolina actually deals with this. But when you get deeper in the South, like New Orleans and Louisiana and things like that, they start to get into what they call voodoo and witchcraft and all that stuff, right? And so this movie really delves deep into the whole voodoo witchcraft culture, right, of Black people. And so what happens in this movie is you have two brothers that are originally from the South, um, but they move up north, right, and for a while, and then they come back down south, right, and what so you get all of this Southern tradition of the Black church and music and um, bars and saloons and all that stuff that happens down there, particularly at a particular time um, in Black history. So, but in this movie, Sinners, what's really interesting is they get into the whole voodoo and witchcraft stuff, but um, what happens is these people get consumed by um, by voodoo and witchcraft, right? And in them getting consumed by voodoo and witchcraft, um, these people turn into what it's kind of like vampires, right? Then, but the whole premise of it all, and this is why I went to this, because in order for the um the witchcraft or the voodoo or the vampires to come in to anything that they're doing, they always ask permission, right? And so if you went outside and you got bit by this vampire, then you became possessed, right? You became possessed. You couldn't you couldn't come back in to the house. You couldn't come back into anything that the regular people were having unless they invited you. So, and when you came to the door, you had to ask permission. Can I come in? Now, if you gave them permission, now they could do whatever they wanted to do, right?
Including biting you.
Well, that was the whole thing. Because that's exactly what they did when they came in, right? So when you ask the question, can we engage in this conversation about Sydney Starr? That's exactly where my mind went.
Am I gonna invite this BS?
Exactly. Exactly. So when you start to shoot down the movie without even knowing the movie, telling me that this movie doesn't have anything to do with black culture, I'm like, why would you say
No,
that?
black history, not black culture. It is definitely part of black culture,
Black
and that's
black
why we're in the problems we're in
black
today.
black culture is black history. How,
Indeed, brother, I can't argue that it's not
right. You can't separate the two.
right. But I can vote against it though.
How are you voting against that, but voting, but promoting, but having a conversation about black?
Because what happened to Sydney Starr will happen to a lot of people.
Why would a lot of people be in? Why would a lot of people be engaging in transgender sex?
No. You see, that's where I lost you, and I'm trying to bring you back, brother. The decisions we make as black men is what I want to talk about.
Okay, regarding what? Regarding sex?
Inappropriate behavior. I think that you, as a therapist, would be interested in how this conversation plays out in terms of critical thinking, brother. Do you agree? So that we don't pass the threshold of the transgender portion of it, I want to talk about the decisions we make as black men, especially young black men, 18 to 25, around that time. The same time of those decisions we make to join gangs and engage in criminal behaviors and all other types of things, begin to take drugs instead of going to college. Those decisions that we make, even amongst the celebrity and athletes who have a opportunity to do something better and get out the ghetto, and we make these um, ratchet decisions, and none of us are incapable of it, except for you, Dr. Mo.
I'm listening to what you're saying. It sounds very. I mean, I think you're generalizing when it comes to.
Right, and I have to because I don't want to speak about anybody in specific to get anybody off topic because I want to focus on what's happening to a person, not because it's happening to him or her, but because of the black mental health and race aspect of it to what we talk about, Dr. Moore, and that is making better decisions. It's just like a couple of episodes ago, we talked about P. Diddy, not necessarily for the P. Diddy trial itself, but for the decisions we made. And I made the recommendation, and you agreed that he needed to have better handlers, people around him that say, yo, we're not inviting nobody up to the hotel. I'm on your security. I'm not allowing that to go down. So the people around P. Diddy were yes people. But some people work in silence. I think we're going to see that in the movie Sinners. And that's why I allowed you, not allowed, that's a bad word to use for it. But that's why I wanted you to tie in to what the premise of Sinners was and the permissions that we give people. You following me, Dr. Moore? You may say no.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah. Well, I'm not necessarily following you, but I'm hearing you. But because you know, I'm a dude that grew up in the hood and all the rest of that stuff. And you know, I grew up around a lot of fucked up stuff. But
Yes, sir.
but
You and me both.
but even in growing up around a lot of that stuff, I was in the midst of that stuff. But I was still, I was still never a kid that smoked weed, drank alcohol.
Hmm.
You know, did I mean there's certain things that I did do, but there were a lot of things that I didn't do. I didn't have,
Right.
I didn't have any kids out of wedlock
Right.
or have a bunch of kids when I was young. I didn't have no
Right.
promiscuous sex and
Right.
all that other stuff. I mean, so I was in the midst of a lot of that, and I was in it, but I was like, I just had certain morals and principles that
Right.
you could be right next to me. I wasn't doing what you was doing.
Exactly. And that's what made you a figure that stood out in South Carolina. And look where it put you today. There are certain disciplines that you had, certain understandings that you, even when you made bad decisions, you weren't in the dirt, Dr. Moore. And I think that paid off for you.
But even,
I may not have the academic accomplishments that you did, but a lot of the things that I won't engage in to this very day are based upon my upbringing.
yeah, and I mean that's anywhere that I went, whether it was South Carolina, DC, New York. When I was in New York, I didn't gravitate to a bunch of bullshit. The
Right.
time I was there,
And all of these places that you came, DC, New York City, Bed-Stuy, all of these places had a lot of dangerous attractions in them.
yeah.
And you avoided them for the most part. And even when you got into trouble, you were able to get yourself out. You had something to fall back on. And most of our people, the ones that we want to talk about tonight, Black mental health and race, most of our people don't have those outlets, don't have any other choice.
Well, I think I think that the outlet and the choice is within you.
That is correct. And that's what we want to talk about because sometimes we don't think it is. And I think that let's because we're gonna end this pretty soon. Uh we got to close this one out as well. But let me start by saying to the audience, does everybody know the legal age of consent for sex in the United States? I got this wrong, brother. What do you think it is?
The legal age for sex,
For consensual sex in the United States, when you're no longer a minor, what is that age?
18.
That is incorrect, sir. Did you know that? That is incorrect.
No.
Hmm.
Well, I see, but well,
And that's what I want
I
to talk about tonight because we don't know the legalities
so
or the position that this lady put herself in. And I wanted to speak to the adults, the young adults, or what they call Dr. Moore now, the YN, the young niggas. I want to speak to them. Do you know what the age of consent is so that you don't get your ass locked up for life, even though you got a promising career ahead of you?
so when I say 18 consenting, I'm talking about 18 being a mutual age for both people.
And that would be incorrect. And I got this wrong, Dr. Moore. It's not just you. Do you know that the age of consent is 16 in some states and 17 in others. It's
Yeah,
never
well,
been eight. It's never been 18.
well,
I never knew that.
okay. So I don't know where what source you're using for that,
Let
but
me look it up for you. I'll
yeah,
Google it while you retort. Go
because
ahead.
I know 16 is not across the board. I don't know that anything is across the board, but what I do know for sure is 18 is the legal age, regardless of what state you're in. So if you're 18, if both of you guys are 18, what I know for sure is regardless of what state you're in, that is a legal age to be able to be intimate. And while some states might vary in terms of it being younger, the 18 and over is a consenting age in any state.
That's for drinking.
That's for sex also.
No, I had to learn the law.
Listen to what I'm saying. I'm
I'm
not
gonna read it to you, Gad.
I'm not saying you can't have sex younger. What I am saying is in any state you go to in the United States, if you're 18 and over, you can legally have sex. You can
Right,
legally do porn. You can legally
right,
you, now you can't legally drink alcohol,
right,
but you can legally have sex in any state at
right.
18.
So that's exactly what I'd like to discuss, Dr. Moore. Making better decisions as YNs. I'm going to present to you YNs tonight, reasonable doubt, because most of us make assumptions, and this is what Sydney Starr did, not to talk about her, Dr. Moore, per se, as they say in court, but she admitted to the damn police officer that she did give this guy a blowjob. That was her mistake. She's 37 years old, Dr. Moore, and she said the guy told her he was 18. That was her mistake. She is going to get a minimum, Dr. Moore, of 25 years to life. To every young person out there listening to me right now, this has nothing to do with Sydney Stars, but everything to do with the decisions that you make in life and knowing something about the law. Every state has its own laws, Dr. Moore, addressing the minimum age of consent to sexual activity. While many people see California as being one of the more liberal states, the age of consent to sexual activity in California is 18. For that, you were right, Dr. Moore. In Kansas, the age of consent in sexual activity is 16. In Missouri, the age of consent is 17. Which states has the age of consent as 13? So for some states have it as low as 13. Did you know that, Dr. Moore?
Well, you know, I didn't know that,
But
but
these are the same states where farm animals are being sexually assaulted. So what you can be charged with, YNs, is aggravated sexual assault, and that's what makes it. And the reason it's called aggravated sexual assault rather than um, just regular sexual assault is because a minor cannot consent to sexual activity until they turn 16 in some states, 18 in California, and 17 in the majority of the other states.
yeah,
That
but
is the clarification that you YNs need to know. So
well,
if you are over the age or you have met your 18th birthday, You cannot be with somebody that is 15 or below and admit that you did anything with them, touched them, or even suggested to them that you do something sexual with them, because that will be called aggravated sexual assault, for which you would have to, as a YN, be permanently put on the sexual offender registry. I will give you the last word on this subject, Dr. Moore.
Well, honestly, I
But if you don't tell that to your kids, not you, Dr. Moore, if you don't tell your kids what's going on and what the legal definition and how to keep your kids out of jail, you are going to be doing the what does the Bible call it, Dr. Moore? The wailing and the gnashing of teeth, because your young YN may be getting 25 to life, and on top of that, he has to be on the sexual offenders registry for the rest of his natural life. Go ahead, Dr. Moore, finish this subject up. I think I have made my point that these people ain't playing with you.
well, um, I don't. Oh, I feel like I don't feel comfortable having a conversation about telling people 15, 16, 17 about having sex, what they should be saying or not saying. Um, I if there's a need to be discussing um anything outside of waiting till you're 18 to have sex, um, I think is a more serious conversation. But um, if you are 15 and 16, 17 years of age, and there's a dire need of having sex or giving oral sex, regardless of your gender or whatever, I think that's a bigger problem than sitting here having a conversation with you, telling you don't say this or don't say that if you are doing that. I think that, if my push to you, if you aren't 18 at minimum, but more than just being 18, if you aren't responsible, then sex is not even a conversation that you need to be even thinking about or having.
Hmm.
But I it sounds almost sickening to me to be discussing, you know, age limits of certain states of where you can have sex with people that are 13 and 15 and 16, as if that shit is justifiable, that if you go to this state, you can have sex with a 15-year-old or a 13-year-old. That is a sickening and disgusting conversation to me to be having with anybody that wants to have. I don't care if you're 18, and you want to have sex with someone younger. That is a disgusting conversation to me to have with anybody that is under that age. So I don't care about the laws in any state where someone is 18 or younger and you're able to have sex with them. I I am adamantly opposed, to any of that, regardless of the laws of that state. I don't think that that's something that should be happening, and that's just me.
That is correct. That was my point. My point is it's not going to matter whether you are male, female, whether you have a penis or a vagina. You are going to jail for 25 years to life in the state of Georgia.
Well, you should, rightfully so, because that's not something. I mean, you should.
If you are 18 years and older.
If you are under the age of 18, you shouldn't be having sex with someone that's under 18.
It's not as uncommon as you think.
I don't care how uncommon it is. I'm saying as uncommon or as regular as you, there's a lot of shit that is regularly happening. But I, I am adamantly opposed to that.
That is correct. But it shows, Dr. Moore, that this is something that should not just be swept under the rug or dismissed or even reduced to a reference to Changi. This is a very serious charge that this young lady is facing,
Well,
young
good,
compared to me.
good for that person. They need to be charged.
But it ain't about her. It's about our young niggas
I
out
don't.
here in the world.
I don't care what niggas it is. If that's what they're doing, then so it.
I am giving them advice, Dr. Moore, if they're listening. We only got 3 listeners, so I don't even know who the 3 listeners is. But if you're out there, watch what you do, watch the decisions you make, because you may pay for them for the rest of your damn life.
Well, I'm not saying watch what you do. I'm saying if that's what you're doing, you have a problem. You have a problem, and you need to get that checked.
That is correct. And that is where you come in, Dr. Moore.
I'm not telling you watch what you're doing. I'm telling you you have a problem.
Is that curable, Dr. Moore?
It is not curable.
Mm. Oh.
That you
Now
are
you just took the conversation to a whole
you
nother level.
you are a sexual deviant.
And that's not curable.
It is not curable.
Will
If
counseling help that?
you find yourself attracted to young people that are underage, then you are a sexual deviant, and that is a problem. And that is
Are
not.
you listening out there in the audience? And Dr. Moore is saying it is not curable. You're telling me, Dr. Moore, that can't be counseled.
No, I'm telling you that people that are sexual deviants,
Right.
there is no cure for that. That attraction that you have for young people, that attraction is not going to go anywhere. You you are going to have that attraction for the rest of your life.
Are you listening, young YNs? Are you listening?
But even if they're listening, if this is something that they're into, they have a problem. So if they're listening, what do you think they're going to do? They have a problem. They're not going to go say, oh, let me go get cured.
I think, Dr. Moore, that there were things that we did in our young life that we'll never do again.
That ain't one of them.
Right. But do you think you're cured of those things that you won't ever do again?
Yeah, but that ain't one of them.
Right.
If you are a pervert, and you prey on young people, that is not a behavior that you are going to get over.
I didn't expect the conversation to go here, but I'm listening with both ears.
When you are traumatized, and most of the time this happens if a person is a sexual predator. Most of the time that is a result of something that happened to them in their childhood. And if that happened to them in their childhood, what happens to the brain in that young childhood? It rewires your sense of what might be considered normal sexual behavior. You are not ever going to be able to get back to what is normal sexual behavior, because what's normal sexual behavior happened to you at a time that was not ever normal. So normal sex, whatever we call normal sex, is never going to be normal to you.
So abstinence is not a cure.
You're not going to be able to be abstinent. You can
And
try.
and
You
the
can
the
try.
the,
You
the
can
data shows that you cannot be abstinent
no.
after being molested.
So what I'm saying is, you can try to abstain, but the sexual attraction that you have for that will never go anywhere.
Okay, I'm getting that part. I'm saying the activity. Can you set your mind to no longer engage in the activity, although your mind, which I do not disagree with, Dr. Moore, your mind tells you what you're attracted to.
And being put in that situation, you
But
not.
I got one more question based upon this because I love to talk about the psychology of it, especially since that's your extensive background. Have you heard of neuroplasticity and how does it explain this in this context?
I'm not sure what you mean when you say neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity allows you to um, regenerate thoughts or something like that. How does neuroplasticity work?
I don't know anything about. I can't speak to that.
Let me look it up right quick. Go ahead. I'm gonna give you the last word.
That is my last word.
You heard him. You heard him. Dr. Moore said you can't be cured. You fucked up for life.
Yeah, but the problem is, you know, not to use the word "fucked up for life," but what has happened to you is something happened to you in your childhood, right? So you got to remember that your brain isn't fully developed until you're 25 years old,
Right.
right? So if something starts to happen to you at a young age, right?
Mm-hmm.
9, 10, 12, that is going to be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the way that you see sex and all that stuff is not going to be the way that a normal person that's developing, develops. You're not going to develop like that because
Mm-hmm.
that development has been interrupted.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to develop the way a normal person develops.
Right.
You're
I
not going
agree with that part.
you're not going to see sex the way that. Now, I'm not saying that if you were sexually molested or something like that.
Because that's what I think you are saying, and that's why I brought up neuroplasticity. But go ahead.
Well, yeah. So I don't want to get into plasticity because I can't speak to that.
Can
You
I
know.
read the definition right quick? But I wanted you to finish your point first. Go ahead.
So
If you were molested as a young child, you're uncurable.
I'm not saying that you're uncurable. Well, it depends on what you mean when you say uncurable. But what I am saying is that if you were molested as a child, that is going. It's like having um. It's like having a mental health issue. You're gonna have that for the rest of your life. You're gonna have to deal with that for the rest of your life, right? So
Correct.
if you were
I agree.
if you were molested as a child, you're going to live with that all your life. You're going to.
That's the aspect that you can't change, is what you're saying.
Right. So
Okay.
so it's gonna if for you to get into a relationship.
You will never see sex the same ever again.
I'm not saying that you depends on the severity of it, right? But if you
Right.
like sex traffic and all that stuff, it's gonna be very, very difficult for you to be in a normal, healthy,
Right. I
romantic,
agree.
because the way that depending on what age you were when that happened, you're going to be traumatized by that, right? And so the way that you are going to be able to receive, a normal, I shouldn't use the word normal, But the way that you're going to be able to receive a healthy relationship is going to be tainted um, by the trauma that you have gone through. And depending on the severity of what happened in that, during that time, is going to have a tremendous impact on you, as opposed to someone who hadn't, right? So, um, if you, for example, if you're 18, 19, 20, whatever, and you are specifically trying to find places where you can have sex with people that are younger, that's a red flag.
Right.
That's a problem.
But what if you're moving in the opposite direction of that, although you've been molested as a kid?
And you're trying to move away from what?
Finding those type or engaging in those type of proclivities.
I
Let
think
me read the definition. Go ahead.
no. So I mean, yeah, you if you're trying to be in a healthy relationship, if something like that happened to you as a kid, and you are trying to move away from that, I think that you could do the work to do that, but it would definitely be a work in progress.
Right. And I think I may be messing up your response by the word incurable, or you can't be cured of that. Maybe our definition
I think
means two different things. So let me read this definition and then we'll continue and I'll give you the last word. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to change and adapt. It is how the nervous system reshapes its physical structure and connection pathways in response to new experiences, learning, or injury. Key types of neuroplasticity: structural plasticity. The brain changes its actual physical and architecture by building new neural connections or growing new brain cells. The second type is functional plasticity. This is the one I was talking about, Dr. Mo, abstaining from certain activities. The brain moves functions from a damaged area to a healthy part of the brain. So you can't cure alcoholism, but you can stop engaging in the activity that causes alcoholism or cirrhosis of the liver.
yeah, but you're still an alcoholic.
Right. So that's where I think my definition limited what you were trying to say about it can't be cured. We may be on the same path. Like I wasn't thinking about going to a state where there's 13-year-olds that you can consensually have sex with. I wasn't even thinking about that at all. But
Yeah,
it made it seem like that was my suggestion to the
no,
audience, and that was far from what I was
no, no,
suggesting.
but
My
there's
my suggestion to the young YNs, male or female, because that remember all of these school teachers, these female school teachers, now having sex with the male students.
yeah, but guess what happens? There's a reason why they make them register
Right,
as
because it don't go out of them. I see what you're saying.
yeah. So and there's because that's not curable.
Right, I get you now.
So they
But if you no longer engage in that activity, if
yeah,
I'm not looking for what state to go in to find 13 years old, then I'm avoiding that activity. I haven't cured what
yeah,
happened to me
yeah, but it's
as a child
yeah.
repeatedly, but I am not engaged in those activities anymore.
I understand that, but it's like smoking crack, you know, or heroin or fentanyl, right? You aren't
It
looking
never goes out of you.
right. So that's what I'm saying. So
I
you are
got you.
so
I'm with you.
yeah. So I'm just saying that in those cases you are an addict. and being put in those situations, that is probably going to happen. So you want to avoid situations like that, but that's why those people are always in a program for the rest of their life.
Or they got because I know people that suffer from alcoholism that never need to take a drink ever again in life. Never went to a AAA program, a AA program. I think it's your discipline inside.
Well,
It doesn't mean that they can't relapse, but I think it's more to deal with your internal dialogue than your uh and I'm not saying avoid therapy. I agree with you. Me and you are doing this podcast because we know the benefits of therapy. But what scared me is when you said that therapy can't help this.
I didn't say that therapy couldn't have that. That's
Well,
not what.
that's what I thought you said, and that's why the discussion went to neuroplasticity.
No, I never said therapy couldn't have. I said that you will have that for the rest of your life.
I get it now. I misunderstood what you said.
Yeah,
I get it.
you could be in forever treatment. It's like if you catch herpes, you will have herpes.
Well, self-discipline is is a forever treatment. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but self discipline. I mean, look,
Nobody can trust that but you. I get
yeah,
what you're saying.
yeah. I mean, and self discipline is like I one. I mean, I'm very good at self discipline for the most part,
Right.
right?
You impress me.
But at the same time, while I'm self disciplined, I'm disciplined enough to know don't go over here.
Right.
Don't spend time doing
Don't
that.
engage in this activity.
Don't go around people doing this. Don't go around people.
Right.
That
That's all I'm saying.
right. But my discipline tells me that
Right.
I'm not over that.
Right.
Right.
Because the moment you believe that is the moment you can slip and fall.
Right. I'm disciplined enough to know you need to go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week. That's
Right.
my discipline doesn't tell me
That's not an option.
my
That's not an elective.
right. I'm disciplined enough to know that, like in my mind, oh, you can cheat.
Right.
You can cheat this Tuesday. You can
Right.
no, you can't.
Right.
You know my
Gotcha.
my my
So
my, my
now let me change my message to the YNs. If you know what you've been through as a child, know that there are certain activities that you cannot say no to. So why put yourself in those situations?
bro, it's
In
easy.
terms of the school teachers, the female school teachers, the Sydney Stars of the world, the Brother Polites of the world, why put yourself in situations with minors that are inappropriate? Stay away from them. That's what the joke was to Michael Jackson. I think it was Cat Williams that said one thing that shook me from my foundation, and I love Michael Jackson. He said, "Would you, after all of these allegations against Michael Jackson, have Michael Jackson watch your kids?" And the answer is no. It's a funny joke, but after all of these allegations, even if he's innocent, just the thought that he had to go through all of this allows that signature or sign of distrust. You're not you wouldn't think that he would do that, but just the fact that all of these allegations came out against Michael Jackson, I would never allow my kids to stay with Michael Jackson because maybe he don't understand. You're not supposed to be sleeping in a bed with a minor that ain't your child. And even if it is your child, you better watch what you do with them. And so I'm talking real life facts, and that's why I may have pushed your stories away. What's the name of that movie, Dr. Moore?
What movie?
Dr. Moore,
What movie?
what was the name of the movie with Michael B. Jordan?
Oh, Sinners.
Sinners. That's why I was kind of pushed off about your sinner story, because that's not reality. But I didn't mean it in a disrespectful way, so I apologize for that. But what I wanted to talk about tonight with the youth was the real, about what you make decisions on, especially in your college years. You people in college, you're going to be around a lot of parties with people with fake IDs. Please don't get caught up in no mess because you don't understand the law, because you don't understand how these situations work, and that they work for the celebrity as the regular person. Anybody can get caught up in this. This is one of those traps out there. And as Dr. Moore said about the movie Sinners, all you have to do is then give them permission to come in. And that's when they do their damage. That's when they do their biting. That's when they recruit you into a world that you should have stayed away from. Dr. Margee, the last word on this, and I wanted to know if you want to come back to talk about schizophrenia and weed uh, intake, or weed, what's the word for weed induction and schizophrenia. Or we can leave it for another time, Dr. Moore. We went over time on this subject, so it's up to you.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we have an answer for this segment, Dr. Moore, other than to tell people you better be careful out there. No matter who you are, what your sexuality is, you better be very careful what you do and what you think.
Yeah. Well, it's already. I'm way over time. It's about 5
Yeah,
in the morning.
we'll do the schizophrenia and weed another day.
Yeah, but I think the difference between you and I, particularly when we get on this podcast, is you're constantly trying to give a message of savior and uh, saving people, and you know hoping people will heed to you know this podcast or what you're saying or what I'm saying, and I don't. That's not my forte. I'm not on here trying to um, heave people one way or the other. I'm just having a conversation with you. Um, if whatever your preference is, your preference. Then the results is going to be the results. I am I'm not the savior police, and I'm not trying to be mean or seem like I don't care or whatever. But that's you know that's not my lot in life. I don't believe that that's my lot in life. Um, if we are in a therapy session, I am not probably going to um, tell you what not to do. I am going to um, give you a. I'm going to give you a perspective about life. Um, I'm going to give you a perspective about how you're viewing life, how you're viewing your situation. I believe that you are the architect and the authority of your life. And if you come to me, um, I am going to help direct you in seeing things in a different way that have not been productive for you. But I'm going to let you make your own choices. So um, when you hear Brother Douglas say, "What take it home," or um, "You got the last word," or to say something powerful, you know, um, to maybe change someone's mind. That's not my goal. I'm not trying to do that. You know, everybody has their lot in life. So for me, if you just want to hear, somewhat of a powerful conversation, then great. Then you come to the right place. But if you're looking to change your life, I'm not the person, you know, just because my name is Dr. Moore, I'm not the person to change your life. That is not my intention whatsoever. I believe that the only person that can change your life is you. So I'm gonna tell you, here and now, if you're listening to me, don't listen to me to change your life. Listen to yourself.
Mm. And if you don't get it, assalamu alaikum. Call you back, Dr. Moore.
Yep.
Peace.
Peace. Peace to the gods.
Peace to the universe.